So, okay. So let's begin the content for today. Okay, so in this webinar, okay, we will cover the following. So what is a support and resistance? So for you, how many of you are over there familiarized with support and resistance? So just drop me a. So for those who are not familiar, for those of you who are familiar with this, have a basic idea. We hope that through this webinar, we can be able to strengthen your methodology and your the technical methodology for support and resistance. So well, it seems maybe easy for me when I first started. My senior always said, why do you choose this level as support? Why do you choose this level as resistance? So you need to back it up with indicators such as Fibonacci and things like that. So which we will cover at the later stage of our webinar, in this webinar. So partly in this webinar, we will be also covering and identifying the levels. So we identify which which levels is the support, which level is the resistance. We relate to price action movement. We also be covering standard what the standard pivot points and what the types of the pivot points. Oh, you're from Mr. Ping. You're from Mr. Fernandez. You are familiar with the support and resistance, but it's not your favorite. Yeah. So hopefully through this webinar, it may change a bit of it may change your mindset. Yeah. So let's continue, and the usage of the pivot points, and followed by other pivot points. Followed by other pivot points. So let's dive a bit into the details. So what is support and resistance? Okay, so what we're showing here is a weekly weekly chart. Okay, so what we can see, this is a price is an uptrend of price action. So in case my description is not clear, so what I would do is I'd like to use a pen. Okay, my favorite color for today is green. Okay, so as you can see, price is moving on the uptrend. So what I mean by uptrend, as you can see, price bounce from a swing low, moves up to a swing low, moves up to a swing high. So when price move up to a swing high, it is moved back down to a swing low, and bullish again up to a swing high, and followed by a swing low, swing high, swing low, and a swing high, and a swing low. So as you can see from here, price actually is moving on the uptrend level. Okay, all right, so let's continue. Okay, so in terms of the support and resistance, so points where supply and demands meets. Okay, so what do we mean by points and supply demands meet? So when price has reached to a swing high, whereby the supply and whereby the demands actually the supply happens to be more by the when supply is happen to be more by the demand. When supply is more than the demand already, there's oversupply, so price will falls back down. And so when it reaches the support level where demands is more than the supply, so the price starts to climb back up already. So this is actually a pressure point. Okay, a support level, as I mentioned, a support level may prevent a further decline whereby they are already equalized here. And so whereby the demand is more than when demand is more than the supply, the price action will start to move up again. So, okay, as it moves up, it creates a swing high and swing low. It creates a different level of support on the uptrend price action movement. A resistance is also the same. A resistance may so vice versa. A resistance level may prevent the price from rising for further. Okay, as you can see, when price reaches at this point, it is unable to further to go up. As we mentioned, supply is more than the demand, so price will retreat back down to the swing low. This is why we can see that the price is not able to continue to bullish upwards. It comes back down. Okay, so as on the uptrend, you will also have different level of resistance. So towards the as we go through now the seminar, this webinar, we will be able to show you what are the indicators to help you to better find the level of support and resistance. Okay, so what typical analysts like us do is that when we be able to identify different levels of support and resistance, we potentially look at this area for a trader. When they look at potential areas like this support or resistance, they may be looking to buy or sell signal. Okay, let's continue. So far, is anybody is clear of what I've just explained? So if not, I'll just continue forward to the I will continue forward. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the message box. I will do my best to answer along the way. So next, how do we establish the support and resistance? Well, again, I like to see charts. Okay, so as you can see, this action movement is actually going on a downtrend, right? So as you can see, what we can say, why do we say it's going on a downtrend? Okay, let me take this pen. So as you can see, price is actually moves from a swing high to a swing low, back to again to swing high, whereby this swing high is lower than this one. So it forms another resistance, whereby the price is unable to break this point. Okay, follow and vice versa. And when the price has retraced back to this level, it forms a support whereby this price is unable to go down from here. So it has supply and demand have come to an agreement, and they cannot be able to go down and decided to bullish upwards again. So here's another support, resistance. Okay, resistance, and support. Okay, followed by support. So coincidentally, the support, they happen to be on the same line together. Okay, but from here to here, okay, it's a bit sorry for my mistake here. It's a bit here. Okay, from here, let me use the blue. So from here, we can see that price is actually moving on a downtrend. Actually, wait, I better use a red color. This is what I'm using. Okay, and red color. So as you can see, oops. Okay, sorry. Screen suddenly there's a flickering. So from here, what we can see as we draw a line here. I'm sorry for my. I'm not. It's not a straight line, but as you can see, it is moving on the downward trend. Okay, let's continue. So previous tops and previous bottom is what we have just mentioned. Price has went to a swing high, it comes back to a swing low, followed by vice versa, swing high and swing low. That's why you can see the tops and the bottoms. Okay. All right. So the tops, okay, happen to be our resistance. The bottoms happen to be our support. So as we generate different level of resistance, here we are labeling it as top 1, top 2, top 3, and vice versa, and followed by bottom 1, bottom 2, bottom 3 for support. So support are levels between, support are the levels below the current market price. Okay. Okay, here we are. This is give you a bit more detailed explanation. Okay, resistance are the level above the market price. So I'm just apologize, the screen is a bit flickering. Okay, is everyone can still be able to see my screen? If does, help me to drop a comment box so that I can, before I continue. Anybody can still see my screen? Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Osman. Thank you very much for your comment. All right, and so as you can see, all right, so it forms a different layer of support. We can see when we draw across the line. So when we draw across the line, okay, we can see that when price comes to this level, it was a when price. Okay, let me put a yellow here, different color. So as you can see, when price comes down, okay, to form a support. Okay, so why here is a resistance? Okay, why here is written as a resistance? So when price has come down, it comes down here and is unable to come further bearish down. So we call this as a support one. So when price went up, okay, to form a resistance one, as it comes back down, again to form the support two. Okay, support two, and happening in coincide that this level is aligned together, and we call this in graphical price action, it becomes a resistance. As price is unable to rise up from here, and indirectly it went down to form a new resistance. Okay, and vice versa. I hope this is clear. Yeah. So if you have any doubt on this, just drop a comment. Thank you. Okay, I'll move forward. Okay, support and resistance are changing roles. So as you can see on the previous slide, what we're trying to say is that the support itself became, which has happened to be here at the previous support, it became a resistance as price as we move towards the time frame. Oops, sorry. Why the yeah? First of all, apologize for the screen if it's flickering. If you're not able to see the screen, do prompt me along the way so that I'll be able to recheck on my side. Okay. So will give a better explanation on support and resistance of changing roles, which is I just mentioned just now. So again, glad to have the chart to display. Okay, so price, as we mentioned, price is start to moving from swing low to swing high. Yeah, put out a pen. Okay, so from swing low to swing high, followed by a swing low again and a swing high. Okay, so you see that price not able to go up from bullish from this side, it retraced back, so it became a resistance and a support. Here became a resistance again. It's not able to go up. So let's continue. So a broken resistance can turn into a support. Okay, so this is how we're going to show it. So from here, the first resistance, we start to draw a line. Okay, we believe that this is our resistance. We start to draw a line across towards the later time frame. Okay, which is support here. Okay, but how it became support? Okay, how it became support? Look what happened to the price itself. Look what happened to this price movement. Yeah. So as you can see, the price itself, it came from the resistance. It came from the resistance. It came from the resistance. Comes back down to this level, whereby this price is not able to be bearish anymore. So instead, it went back up. So when you look through the previous resistance, this line, when you draw this line, when you start to draw this line, as which is shown here, indirectly this became a support. But in my understanding is in terms of graphical price, graphical in terms of graphical price action, we're calling, for me, I will address this as graphical overlap. I will address this as graphical overlap support. So as you can see, price has already continued to move up. Another swing high, which is a resistance, another resistance, follow and retrace back to form another here, a support, and goes back up to a swing high of a resistance and goes back down. Okay. So turn on this. Okay. So previous resistance represent potential swing support. So previous resistance, when you draw a line across, it may, before this price starts to retrace to this support, to this level, it may generate a previous resistance. It may generate a potential support level. Okay, the same goes to the same. And as you can see, price is about, oh, sorry. So price is about to touch this level. And if this price action from here, if this price continues to bounce, okay, continue to make another, continues to be bullish along this level, so indirectly here we can say that it has become a support. But if this price continues to go down, we cannot say this is a support, because price has already broken through this line. Yeah, this line we actually later in the later of the webinar we may address this line as pivot. All right, thank you for the comment, Chia. All good, thank you. So if I'm in sync, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, so now we continue to say what we have explained: support and resistance changing role. So in this now we will show, just now we were showing the price that's going uptrend. So now we're showing a price movement of going downtrend, whereby the support became the resistance. So just now what we explained is whereby the resistance, how the resistance became the support. Indirectly we call it the overlapping support. Thank you, Osman, for your thumbs up. Great. So now this is how we I like to use the pen so that everyone has a better understanding of what I'm saying. Sometimes, describing without showing anything is kind of like, yeah, a bit, I scared I may be confusing. Yeah. So, okay, so as you can see, prices continue going on a downtrend movement and continue to have a bearish to this point level, whereby it is bearish to this point level, whereby price is unable to continue to bearish, and you will generate a support. So from here, since price is unable to come down further to bearish further, price continue from here, it bounced to a swing high, whereby it forms a resistance. Okay, here it forms a resistance. That's what happened. So let's draw a general line across. So as you can see, price has continued to retrace this level and broken this support line, which we said earlier. And price, when it broken through this so-called support line, you can see that price at this moment, followed by this candlestick, it seems that the price continued to have reached another support level, and it seems to be bounced from this level and it's going upwards. So guess what happened when this price start to move? Okay, hold on a sec. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, so guess what happened? Let's see what happened as we as price continue along this timeline. Okay, all right, a broken support can turn into a resistance. This is what I just which is where I'm coming to it. What is this meaning of this statement? Okay, as you can see just now, I drew a line across. Okay, whereby the previous where is the location of the previous support. I drew a line across. Yep, it became the resistance. Okay, so we still cannot define this as a resistance yet, unless, I say again, unless price itself is bullish up to this and touch this level and to touch this level. So let's see what happens. Yeah. Okay, previous support represent previous resistance. Okay, so it's okay. As you can see, yeah. Okay. Okay, pen. So as you can see, why is my pen? Okay, as you can see, when price has bullish up to this level, which is in line with the previous support, and start to, from here, it did not bullish up this level, but rather went bearish. It went back down to form a new swing low. So from here, we can say that price has taken over this previous support to become a resistance. So is anybody clear with this explanation so far? If any comments, you can drop in the message box. Yep. Is everyone clear so far with this explanation? Okay, I see no comments at the moment, so I'll continue. Okay, so it goes to the same level. So as you can see, okay, as you can see, price has broken through this level and form a new support here. And unfortunately, price also did not continue to bearish from this level. It went bullish and overtakes this support to form a new resistance here at this level. And unfortunately, price did not continue to be bullish from this resistance level. It went bearish, okay, and broke through the previous support to form a new swing low support here. But guess what? As we proceed through this timeline, okay, thank you, Sal. Thank you for your support. Yep. So as you can see from this support, this point, price is bullish from this support, seemingly like it's about to retest this previous support. Okay, it seemingly is about to retest this previous support. This line is seemingly like this price is about to retest this previous support. Guess what? If once they retest this previous support line, and if this price, again, the same as we just explained, if this price does not goes up beyond this line, which is, we can say this is a pivot, then it went bearish, the price reverse from this, reacts from this price, from this line, and reverse and went bearish, we can say that this is a resistance, and it overtakes the support, and it is changing role to become a resistance. But here I define it as a graphical overlapping resistance. Okay, no questions so far? And don't worry, I'm here to answer your questions. I'll do my best to answer your question. If you have anything, along the way, feel free to drop your questions in or your comments, and I will do my best to explain before I proceed. Okay, so yep, resistance, as I just mentioned. Okay, so now, now we come to support and resistance, tops and bottoms. Example in an actual chart. Do I have an example in an actual chart? Sorry, today I didn't prepare an example because today actually the purpose of today's webinar, I was hoping to give you a I was hoping to deliver a solid explanation on the support and resistance. Yep. So hopefully during the Q&A, if you have any questions, then I will do my best to answer. Support and resistance, tops and bottom. Let's continue. Sorry, I'm Fernandez. So as now, okay, we have a timeline. Hopefully we'll load up a price chart first. Choose a time frame that you would like to trade. Okay. So what are the types of the time frame that we're looking at? So if you use a training view, can I just use support? Mr. Elias Chua, Mr. Elias, is it? Yeah, Mr. Chua. Can I use support and resistance to trade FX? Yes, because this is a technical analyst. For support resistance, usually we are is using on a technical analyst. So once you be able to identify the support and resistance, you can apply to FX, commodities, equity, stock tradings. As long as it has to do with a chart. Yeah. So first, so let's continue. First, we choose a time frame that you choose a time frame that you would like to trade. So it can be so it depends on what kind of trader are you. Are you an intraday trader? Are you a medium trader? Or are you a long-term trader? So typical intraday trader, you're looking at a 1 hour to 4 hour chart. For a medium trader, you maybe you're looking at a weekly to a daily. But for a long term, I'm sorry, the screen got flickered again. For a long term, you may be looking at a much of a longer time frame chart, which is on a daily to a monthly. Okay. So from here, we're looking. This is a weekly chart. Okay, as you can see, one candle is represented by a week. So in a month, there's 4 weeks. So probably this is where we're looking at. It's a weekly chart. So first of all, as we can see, it's quite vividly that the price action is actually moving on an upward trend. Okay, so let me draw my favorite line. I always like to draw trend lines. It's one of my favorite to identify whether the price is moving on the upward trend or the downward trend. So since it's moving on the upward trend, okay, we draw below the support. Okay, we're drawing at the support level. Okay, since it's moving on an upward trend. I mean, I don't know, I hope I'm right the way I draw. Okay, first to choose a time frame, followed by mark the all-time highs and the all-time lows. Okay, all-time lows, mark the all-time high. So the swing, the most bottom swing low to the most highest swing high. Okay, mark all, then followed by we start to mark all the previous tops and previous bottoms. Okay, the previous tops. Okay, this is the first price is start moving uptrend. It goes to the support, retrace back to its all-time low, which is here. Because we cannot see what's behind here, we assume that this is the all-time low. So price continue from here. It bounce, it's bullish up and break this top one level. Okay, and price retrace follows. It forms a support here. Sorry, it forms and retrace and forms a support here. We cannot. Sorry, the screen is flickering. It forms a support here, and vice versa. Okay, this is our resistance, top two resistance. So top two, which is defined by bottom two, followed by resistance 3, which is top 3, bottom 2. So as you can see, okay, here it says here, cluster or level make a zone more significant. So what does this mean? As you can see, so if we define this as a support, as you can see, it is supported by another this is became an overlapping resistance, as because price graphical overlapping resistance, or a resistance whereby sorry, not resistance, a support. Sorry for my mistake. This is a support because price has bounced from this previous level. So what we can say that when it means that the cluster or level makes the zone more significant, as you can see, we are not only supported by one line. As we draw this line across, this paper line across, it is supported by another support here, whereby these two became a cluster. So when it became a cluster, it is, as you can see, this is just one level. Well, however, here is formed by 2 levels. So it makes this support a much more significant level. So it makes this like, depends on how many times you press the brake. The more level of this significant is, the more higher chances that we're going to get a strong reaction on this. It's either it's going to be bearish or bullish. So is there any questions? Is everyone okay so far with my explanation? Yep. All right, so let's continue. Well, beside support, this is the next thing we're going to cover is support and resistance moving average. So we're going to use moving average to help us to identify the support and resistance. Okay. All right. So as you can see, this is a weekly chart. It's price, as we mentioned just now, is moving on an uptrend. It's moving on an uptrend. Okay. All right. We identify the tops and the bottoms, support, resistance 1, resistance level 2, 3, and vice versa for the support. Okay. Moving average provides support and resistance. So how it's going to do? So when you're in your, when you trade or when you analyze your chart in the software, okay, you will be able to have this function called indicator called EMA. So EMA stands for exponential moving average. So there's a different kind of EMA level you can select. It's either 20 or 55. So for me, I go in between these two. Sometimes I use 34, depends on the price movement itself. Price action movement, sorry. As you can see, okay, so now I believe this red is the exponential moving average of 20, followed by, which you set in your system, in your analyze charts function program, and followed by this maybe is a EMA moving average 55. So what it means that the higher the number, the smoother if you cause a lot of this price action movement noise, so the smoother the line is, the curve is, the price movement. Okay, as you can see, the moving average of the 55 is just happened to touch the bottom of the bottom one. So we can say that since price is above this moving average, we are looking that price may be bullish on top, may bullish. Yep. So as you can see, the EMA, is below this, is touching and is below the price movement, followed by EMA 20. Okay, you mark all the horizontal line across. As you can see, this became a cluster. So just now, what we said that we think that this is a good resistance, whereby it overtakes the previous resistance. It becomes here became a good support because it overtakes the previous resistance price action, and followed by the EMA. Here it becomes a strong cluster. So we are hopefully that looking at, whereby since now this price is above this EMA, so we're looking at this price maybe will rise from this level, significant from this level. So we mark the average with the horizontal lines. Okay, the same goes with the 50s. Yep, the EMA 50s. Okay, is that really clear so far? I see no questions so far. Do support me. give me some questions, but don't give me some questions that is relevant to this webinar, so that I'll be able to. We are here to to share our ideas in this webinar. Okay, support and resistance significance. Okay, as you can see just now, we use the EMA to identify the support, followed by the EMA 20 to identify the support as well. Okay. The links together here, 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 here. Okay. Okay. Then we identify, we as per just now, the previous chart is here. We identify all these levels. Okay. Support are level below the market price. So this is what we have covered in the beginning of the webinar. Okay. Support are levels below the market price. Okay, we already selected it. Is already here selected, identify as 1, 2, 3, 4, S1, S2, vice versa to S6 from this price chart. Okay, resistor on the level above the market price. Okay, which we identified here. Okay, yeah, this one. Okay. Okay, clusters makes the zone more significant, as we have mentioned. The more, yep. Okay, as you can see, this cluster here is supported by the EMA indicator, which is EMA 20, if I'm not mistaken. Is also followed by the previous graphical price action movement here, but by this line, and we have another line which is whereby price did not vary from this line. In fact, it bounced. So this is a strong cluster level to make it, which makes the zone more significant. Okay. Okay. Support and resistance in a range. Okay, what do we mean by support resistance in the range? Well, glad we still have this chart to go to explain. So in a range, we have two important levels. We have only two important levels. Okay, so you can see this. It seems like the price itself is not able to break this previous top. It's still going back down, but okay, let me use my pen indicator. Okay, green today is my favorite color. So as you can see, price has made a top, which is a resistance 1, followed by a support 1. Let me identify this first, followed by resistance 2, followed by support. We care. Hi, Josh. What does it mean when a zone is more significant? Why should we care? Well, yeah, to answer this question, Sean, is it? Is it Sean? Yeah, I cannot. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. Yeah. So, hi, Josh. What does it mean to have a more significant? Okay, later I will come back to it again. Just let me finish this slide first. I'll come back to it again. I noted your question. Okay. So let me press the pen. So as you can see, when this price at this bottom, it did not break this. When this price, as you can see, as we mentioned, and we draw this straight line across, these two, bottom 1 and bottom 2, seems to be on the same level. Okay, it should be on the same level. So what happens when this price here, from this support, it bullish up, it went up, it moves bullish up to top to resistance 3, and stops here and did not continue to went up. It did not continue to went up. It retraced back, and so happened this level is almost in line with our resistance 1. Okay, vice versa. Support 2, support 3, followed by resistance 4. Okay, and come back to support 4. Okay, so when we draw this line across, it seems that this line is this line, right? This line when it gives you an idea that this is a strong support line, or here is defined here as bottom. But to me, when I see these ones, okay, it defines that this is a good strong support line, because when the moment price it reached this level, which is almost the same as this bottom level support 1, it did not break through. When it did not, price did not continue to bearish, but when it reversed and went bullish. So this is a good significant support, whereby usually when you have 2 times of this, when price continue to reach this price level, most I believe traders, they will definitely look at this point and may play the bounce, to buy, to enter at this level and buy at this price, and whereby as more people buy at this price, more investors buy at this price start to goes up. So likewise also the same for the resistance. So as you can see, the moment the price went up to the identical level of this price level, which is identical to the previous stock, it did not went bullish, reverse track, reverse. Okay, and the next swing, it goes back up here. It goes back to resistance 4, but it did not. Price did not. Unfortunately, surprisingly, price did not went up this same level, and it retraced down back to support 4. So what we're saying that this level, price is trading in a range between this level and this level. Okay, this level here, okay, and this level. Okay, so usually when I see this, I always have this feeling that price is actually consolidating itself. So usually when I see this, it's hard for me to to tell, to look at this, and I will just I won't make any conclusion from here. Just the only thing I can take it from here is that price is moving up and down between this level, and price actually is at a consolidation mode. Okay, the top of the range. So let's continue. Okay, from here you see they draw a line across. In this presentation, it draws a line across. Sorry. Okay, the bottom of the range. Okay, the line was drawn across. Okay. All right. So pivot points. So what do we mean by pivot points? Okay, there's 3 types of pivot. Okay, so we'll use pivot to find the support we will use the pivot to find the possible support and resistance, okay, through pivot points. And there are three types of pivot. We call it the standard pivot, okay, the standard pivot, the mark pivot, and the Fibonacci pivot, okay. Honestly speaking, I use Fibonacci a lot in my analysis. My senior was quite enough, use a lot of Fibonacci to identify support and resistance. So I'm really, yeah, I'm grateful that to know this Fibonacci is a very powerful tool, because I believe market, as I remember, he taught me, it says, if I'm not mistaken, it's market is, if you believe that market is moving in a fractal. So how do we calculate the pivot points? So here we have to do a bit of, later we'll be showing you a bit of formula. Okay. Okay, so we estimate the previous high and lows and the closing price of the higher time frame. Okay, so you have to ask yourself first, before we be able to calculate this pivot point, we have to, first of all, we have to ask ourselves whether are we looking at an intraday chart, which is 1 hour to 4 hour chart, or we're looking at a medium, are you a medium trader, which is maybe a different, because different charts give you different kind of level where you need to use your price prior days high and lows, to make this calculation. So for the medium term, as we mentioned, is using the previous week, the prior week, because for a medium trader, you're looking at a weekly chart or a daily chart. So for medium term here, it's happened to use on the weekly chart. So for intraday, you are looking at a per hour chart or 4 hour chart. Here is happen to use on the daily chart. So for a long term chart, okay, if you're a long-term trader or a long-term, if you like to analyze on the price action movement on a long-term basis, so usually you look at a long term, which is usually is a daily or a daily or the monthly. So from here, it happens to be on a prior monthly high, low, and the closing. So standard pivots. Okay, so this is how we calculate. So first of all, we identify a level, a pivot level. The calculation is as follows in the formula. So if, let's say, just now we have explained, if you're using on a, okay, let me scroll back a bit. So just now, as we explained, if you're, let's say we selected the, for intraday chart, we're using the prior days high, low, and close. Okay, the prior days price of its high, the price that's closed on the high, the low, and the high price that was closed, and the high price that was sold, and the recent close price. Okay, this is the formula: high, the prior high, the prior low, and the close. And if you're using the intraday, it's a daily, prior daily, the low prior daily, and the close divided by 3, and you have this levels. So vice versa, once you have the pivot point P, and you put into this formula to find the next support, which is defined as 1 times 2 minus the prior daily high. Vice versa, it goes for the resistance, whereby is the pivot, which is you have defined here, which you have found here, times 2 minus the prior low, prior daily low, followed by support 2, which is the same here. The formula is P minus high minus low, and resistor 2, P plus high minus low. Yeah, and this is what we get. And if your calculation plug in the numbers are correct, you will get this kind of identify this kind of level in relate to your price, in relate to the price movement. Okay, so far let us continue. Other pivot points. Okay, so to define the other pivot points, we can use Fibonacci. Okay, Fibonacci, there are two things we can use: is Fibonacci extension or Fibonacci retracement to find the support and to strengthen the significant level of support or resistance. And the other one is called the mark pivot point. So this the mark. Well, there's a lot of formulas out there. for that's in the market that's using this DeMar. But DeMar actually is created by DeMar, Mr. DeMar himself. His name is Tom DeMar. And so what happens, the formula that you see out there, you may have found, through your research on Google or anything, these it may not be accurate because Tom DeMar himself, who created this DeMar pivot, he exclusive the service to him. So if you want to use this, you want to know more about this calculation, you may need to buy this exclusive service from him. So Fibonacci main pivot is derived in the same way as the standard pivot points. Later we will be able to, I will maybe be able to show you how can we use Fibonacci extension retracement, because extension is much more complicated. Because extension you have 3 points, but Fibonacci retracement you need to have 2 points. So I think I'll be able to give you some explanation on that, to strengthen how we can use Fibonacci to strengthen to the significant level of your support and resistance. So support and resistance are calculated using the Fibonacci ratio, which is 0.3, 0.2, and 61.8. But for me, different ratios gives you different kind of. To me, usually when I look at ratios, is that as long the ratio itself is quite almost in line with the support or the resistance, we are expecting that that level may have a price reaction. So the mark points, as we mentioned, the service is exclusive. So if you want to find out more, you may need to approach his exclusive service. So until now, we have come to the end of our webinar. So if you have any question regarding what I have just presented, you may, you can approach Mr. Alvarez, and these are his office contacts, his fax, and the website you can check, and this is the address, and well, he has a Facebook, and if you have anything, you can drop a question on him, or you can approach XM on this, as this webinar is carried out by XM. Okay, so we have come to the end of our webinar, to the end of our presentation. So let me give you one takeaway on how we can use. Oh, sorry, the screen went blank again on me. Is there anybody still can see the screen? Give me a comment. Wait. So no questions. Good. Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, it's not flickering. Okay, Miami. Okay. So far good. All right. Okay, great. So let me give you if anyone of you still there. Okay, I hope you guys still here with me. So maybe I will do a quick introduction, quick explanation on how I use Fibonacci ratio to find the support and resistance. Okay. All right. Okay, let's find a clean. Okay, not this one. Let me retrace back the presentation slide. Not this one. Just give me a minute. Okay. Oops. Okay, not this one. Yeah. Okay, this one. Okay, let me use the eraser. Erase the thing. Okay. All right. Let's use this price movement to show you how I use Fibonacci to strengthen the significant level of my support and resistance. Let's say, okay, use my pen. So this is my color here. Okay, let's say just now we have identified here is by using our eyeball, using our eye judgment. As price is continuing to move on an uptrend, we tentatively with eyeball here, we indicate here is maybe our support. Okay, this is our resistance. Okay, oops. Okay, resistance. Okay, this is a pen. Okay, This is a resistance. Okay, so why we use our eye judgment or our judgment? Because once we see this and we feel that this is our support, each our individual support and our individual resistance. So how do we identify whether this is a good support level or not? Okay, so what we do, we will start to do we use our Fibonacci. Okay, because we believe the market is moving in a fractal movement. Okay, thank you for your thumbs up, Mr. Osman. So price is moving on a fractal movement. So what we do is we will draw our Fibonacci retracement from swing low to swing high. Okay, so we draw from this point here all the way to the top. Okay, as price is moving from swing low to swing high, as here the ratio you're looking at here is 100%. So price is moved up here to 0%, and we are trying to find the support. So that's why we take from the swing low to swing high, and we are looking at where this line, the support will end up. So when you draw from swing high to swing low on your Fibonacci using Fibonacci retracement, the screen is flickering on me on my side. Okay, you will show a different kind of level. Maybe like this, like that, like that. Okay, so based on what I see here, I won't be surprised that this may be about 72.8% of Fibonacci ratio. So this level may be in line with what you have found in your support when you identify here in support, and that's why we can say that as part of what we're saying that we're using Fibonacci. This is how I use a Fibonacci retracement or Fibonacci rule Fibonacci technical methodology to identify support and resistance. So how you find the resistance? So for resistance, it's just happened that so is everyone clear with this? On this Fibonacci thing? Okay, I'm using Fibonacci retracement. Sorry, where's my oops? Seemingly my system is okay. Sorry, I was trying to find my okay. So yellow. So as I mentioned this now, this level, it may happen to be a 72.8% retracement of the Fibonacci retracement. So it's almost in line with what we found our support. So we can say that this price, if price happen to fall back down to this 72.8, which is this level, we may be looking that it's going to be a price action of either it's going up or going down. Prices maybe is bullishing up or it's maybe continue its bearish move, but we are expecting a price action at this level of support. Okay. Likewise, let me clear this line. Fibonacci retracement. We are using from swing low to swing high is to find the support. Okay, let's close this one. Yep. Okay, all right. So vice versa. Okay, if you want to, so we're going to find the resistance. So let's use this level to find our, let us use this level, find our resistance. Okay. Okay. So from here, okay, from here, if we draw our resistance, our Fibonacci retracement from this point to this point, and if price itself is okay from this point, which is 0%, this is 0%. So as you can see, this line is almost be able to reach. If we look through the time frame, we won't be surprised that in terms of the Fibonacci, that this price may test this level at 100% Fibonacci retracement. So as you can see, each Fibonacci has its own ratio by itself. Okay, inside here, and even you have a way down here. So, but from here, for the purity or simple explanation, we just want to show that how Fibonacci retracement is able to help you to identify your resistance. So to identify using Fibonacci retracement to help you find resistance, you have to draw from your latest price action movement before the closing price, which is here, which is the swing high to the swing low. Okay. So from here, I would like to leave it. I would like to move to Q&A session. If you have any question, please drop on the message box. I will do my best to explain. So now we have one question from, I believe I may have answered you, Mr. Chia, is it? Yes, it's clear. Hope you have some example in the actual chart. I'm sorry today I prepared, but I'm already explained on the presentation chart. So if is there any, we'll leave a couple of 5 minutes like that. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop on the message box, and I'll be glad to answer on your behalf, answer some of your questions that you may have. So we will be here for the next about 2 to 3 minutes before we end the session. So if there's is there any
question? Joshua, yeah. Sorry, I'm going to just interject and take over from here.
Sure.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Joshua, for just going through with us the topic for today, especially on support and resistance. Not an easy one, especially with so many of you having so many questions. I think Joshua did really well. Okay, so I have a comment here from Elias, right? Elias, my name is Isaac, right? So if you join me regularly, you know that I do conduct webinars with XM as well. All right, so please understand, Elias, that it's not that Mr. Joshua is ignoring your question, is that he's actually trying to follow the slides as closely as possible, because at the end of the day, today is really a teaching session on support and resistance. Okay, and he has also gone the extra mile to also explain using Fibonacci. But just to placate you, right? But I also hope you understand that respect and respect really goes both ways, right? But just to placate you, I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to share my chart with you, all right, on support resistance on TradingView. All right, so you want to talk about a live chart? Let's go to a live chart. Give me a pair that you want to look at. All right, so Joshua, I'm just going to make myself the presenter. I think you can just sit back and just watch as I go through the live chat with Mr. Elias as well.
No problem.
All right, thanks a lot, Joshua. Yeah.
No problem.
All right, so Elias, you're asking for pound dollar. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so using only today as a teaching session. All right, using today as a teaching session, because this is really a focus on support and resistance, I'm just purely going to look at horizontal support and resistance. All right, and if you follow our webinars, you know that we also employ a top-down approach, right? So let's just start off with the monthly. All right, and on the monthly, we see that there's a clear resistance at this area over here, this last swing high, where price actually touched. Okay, so it's at a 1.4241 level. Okay, so very clear cut, this is a swing high. A bit tough to identify the swing low or the support level, but just by eyeballing, I think to be fair, we can say that this is also a nice and fair support level over here at a 135.148, right, where price touched once, came close another time, broke above, and came close before rejecting. So on the monthly, we have price holding between resistance and support, which we have identified here. Very quickly, let's go down to the weekly. All right, and on the weekly, what I do not like about pound dollar is really the fact that, we see a strong run up on the pound dollar and price has gone into a left shoulder, forming a hit. This could very well be forming the right shoulder as well. All right, so I give it in terms of time and space, right, as Joshua was sharing about earlier about the fractal nature of markets. Fractal nature of markets also considers time and space in taking that in consideration, right? We should see that the right shoulder should be completed in about 1 to 2 weeks time. right? So this is a neckline. We can actually narrow the support. Okay, I'm just assuming that this could very well be head and shoulders. So I'm just going to put another support over here. All right, and it's a bit hard to see what is going on here. Let's quickly go down to the daily. All right, and just on the daily, I'm going to tidy up the charts a bit with the monthly. Just remember this, the monthly resistance. Now, this monthly support is a bit too far away, so I'm going to ignore it. And I don't like how price is actually chopping around this area. It's actually a spike on the weekly, but for presentation purposes, I'm just going to tidy it up. All right, so now that we're on the weekly, let me refresh the levels again. This is the monthly. This red line is the monthly resistance, right? And this green line is the weekly support. And now we are on the daily. Now we see the price has actually completed this move from a swing low to swing high. And as Joshua has shared with you earlier about Fibonacci retracement, let's do a retracement from the low to the high. Pulling out all Fibonacci ratios, we see that we find confluence negative 61.8 with the monthly key resistance. All right. And of course, I'm going to put another resistance. I'm just going to narrow the zone down. There's a resistance at the recent swing high here at the 139.82.1 level. Okay, so in terms of a head and shoulders, if this is a head and shoulders, right, this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder, right, we should see price come back down to this level over here, right? So, and this weekly support so happens to be in line with the 78.60 retracement level. Okay, so let's just keep all these levels in mind, and I already have a bearish bias. All right, so ideally, pound dollar should be something like that. Let's quickly go down to the 4 hours. Okay, on the 4 hours, I'm just going to tidy this up. I'm also going to move this forward because I don't really want to zoom out too much. So we have it over here. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to speed things up. We can see the market structure price is actually making lower highs and lower lows. And in a structure like this, price is clearly in a downtrend. On the 4 hour, we are in a downtrend. We can draw a descending trend line resistance. So we have a descending trend line resistance with this last push down. Let's do another short-term retracement from high to low. We can see that there is actually a resistance at the 61.8 retracement level. And this 61.8 retracement level in close, right, is actually a pretty nice graphical overlap resistance zone. Okay, so this essentially, Elias, is what I'm going to be seeing. Okay, I'm expecting to play a drop below 138.94.6 all the way down to the 78.6 retracement level at a 136.74. Okay, and of course, we have the stop loss. There's where I'll put the stop loss at a 139.82.1 level. So very nice risk reward, slightly more than 1:2. I think it's a 1:2.5. Okay, pretty nice over here. If I'm going to include okay, MACD, right? I just want to take a look at MACD, and you can see very clearly that the MACD is below zero now. We are in a bearish environment, so a slight push up before a drop down. All right, Elias, I hope that this answers your question on the pound dollar. Again, this is not a recommendation to trade. I have to make it clear that this is just a straightforward live analysis. Please do your own due diligence. If your analysis confirms with mine, fantastic. If it doesn't, I could be wrong, you could be wrong, or I could be right and you could be wrong, right? Okay, so Elias, yeah, I hope this answers your question on pound dollar. Until then, tomorrow, actually, if you want to ask a few more questions with regards to technical analysis and actually go through the charts, right? Tomorrow, we actually have a live exclusive webinar session. Same time with XM. Just go to XM website, register, 11 a.m. And I'll see you guys over there. Okay, until the next time, thanks everyone for taking time out of your Thursday morning to join Joshua and myself for today's session on support and resistance. And have a great day ahead. Trade safe, stay safe. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thanks a lot, Joshua. I'm going to end the webinar now.
Okay.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.